We talk about the do's and don'ts of marketing in 2024, AI tools that we like, a little used LinkedIn feature, and we have a review of canned haggis this week on the Strong Coffee Drip. My name is Brian from Strong Coffee, and as always, I am joined by two willing participants, Duncan and Ian. Happy New Year, guys. Good to see you.
Happy New Year.
Everybody had a fantastic holiday season. I hope Santa was good to both of you. Speaking of Santa, you can see if you look closely at Duncan, you'll see that he is sporting a Strong Coffee hoodie. And actually, if Ian lifts his hand, he might have a Strong Coffee mug in it, unless you want to put it in the dishwasher. Okay, well, we got those from Santa. So, Duncan, it's good to see that you are sporting yours. I am not today. I know you had an incident with a seagull in your hoodie, but we won't get into that. That might make one of the outtakes. A quick show of hands. We had a Christmas party for the office on the Friday before Christmas. Quick show of hands from everybody here in the room. Who tried the canned haggis? Hands up. Okay, we got two. Anybody? Two of us, and there's three of us in the... Duncan, you didn't put up your hand. Do you want to explain?
Yeah, I was already feeling nauseous that day, and I didn't want to exacerbate it.
Okay. Fair enough, and we heard plenty about that when you were there in the office. So Ian, I guess it's between you and I. I did get asked a couple of times over Christmas from people that I know that have seen some of the clips. What did you think of the canned haggis? Your honest opinion. What did you think? Would you have it again?
My honest opinion was it was fine. If you didn't like that, then I don't think you would really be a fan of any better haggis. So yeah.
Okay. I think your exact words were, "Oh, this tastes like haggis."
Yes.
So it was like it wasn't any shock to you when you had it. It's like, oh yeah, this is what it's supposed to taste like.
Yeah.
As an outsider's perspective, because I obviously didn't try it, I will say the smell emanating from the microwave was not as bad as I was expecting.
Yeah. And I will agree with you there.
Worse, especially when you use like the office microwave. Like I was dreading what was going to come out of that in terms of smell and the lingeringness of, the office microwave. But luckily it was palatable.
From the guy that didn't try it, yes. I agree with you, Duncan. The smell wasn't as bad as I thought, and truthfully, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever eaten. It tasted kind of like if you've ever had like a meat pie, like the center of a meat pie with the ground beef, etc. It also smelled a little bit like stew. The thing I didn't like about it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ian, but there's oats inside of it. And what kind of got me was, as I ate it, the oats started to form a bit of a paste.
Okay.
So by the time I had chewed more, it kind of went from like ground beef flavor and texture to more of a pate that I couldn't get off my teeth. And I think that's what kind of did me in, where I had multiple bites, but it ended poorly. So, but I'm happy that I tried it. I'm happy. There were other people. We'll show the video. There were other people in the office. Yasher tried it. The other Brian tried it as well. Duncan didn't get around to trying it.
There was a few seconds, yeah.
I had seconds, yeah. So overall, a fun experience, and we had a lot of fun at the holiday party. We played some games. We had lots of donuts, and we had pizza, and it was good to see everyone and see some friends stop by too. So it was a lot of fun. I'm glad we were able to do it. So all of that is behind us now. We are on to 2024. We've reached the new year. It's time to get back to work. Hope you've had a few good days getting back at it. I wanted to spend some time talking about our goals, our dreams, our aspirations for the new year. I'm just kidding. I don't want to talk about any of that because I could see Duncan's face like we didn't talk about this ahead of time. No worries. We don't have time for that. Instead, I thought it might be helpful to spend a little bit of time talking about some do's and don'ts when we look at the marketing horizon moving forward. Over the next 12 months, guys, give me one do and one don't from a marketing perspective for marketers out there. what are some things you think they should or shouldn't do moving forward to stay focused and to get where they want to go? Ian, let's start with you.
Okay, yeah. I think my one do would be to be aware of new technologies. As we saw last year, AI grew a great deal, and I think that's going to continue this year. I also think that this year augmented reality is going to start to blow up a bit more as well. Obviously, Apple have their new headset coming out in the next few months, I believe. So I think augmented reality is going to start to take off a bit as well. My don't would be don't let that let you neglect your customer experiences, and don't forget your marketing principles. Obviously, as a lot of new tools come out, it is easy to get caught up in it. But you've got to make sure it's appropriate for you, your marketing, your audience, and things like that. You don't need to be on every single platform or using every single tool. So, so do be aware of technologies, but don't let that neglect your customer experience.
And to your point, Ian, I think every day I wake up and I hop on my computer or my phone to look at things, and there's always that shiny new tool that appears, and I swear there's a new one every single day, and I start reading it and think, oh, this is interesting to try. Maybe I'm going to spend some time looking at this today, and then I have to catch myself and go, no, I have other things I need to do, and if all I did was look at these tools all day long, I don't know if I would have time to do anything else. So
absolutely, yeah, they're coming out thick and fast. Yeah,
it's hard too, because there's always that shiny new toy that you see, and you're like, oh, what could we do with this? But
indeed,
have to be aware of our time. Don't want to go crazy. Duncan, what about you? A do and a don't for marketers in 2024?
I mean, let's just like build off a little bit of what Ian was saying, but like a big do this year is to really consider how your audience is consuming media, because I think as a generation this is changing. Video content is huge right now, especially kind of that first person video content, or showcasing how you build something, anything like that. As long as it's sort of entertaining, people will interact with it. The algorithms will interact with it and probably favor it. So this kind of like short form video is huge right now. It's huge for awareness. It's part of the reason why we're doing this podcast in the first place. But it is a huge change and shift in how audiences are consuming media. And, businesses have to be aware of how they can leverage it and how they can use it to get out content that their audiences will engage with. Now, a don't to that, though, is assume that just because you're making a video that you need to spend thousands of dollars on equipment and build and bring in a professional team to go and do this stuff. Most videos that people do that are successful are literally them holding up their phone or even in a tripod of them doing something. You don't have to go crazy with this stuff. It just needs to feel natural and not forced, which is why if you do it with a big agency, oftentimes you miss the mark.
And to your point, Duncan, about the equipment, it's very obvious we don't spend a lot of money on equipment, correct? I have lights. That's a start. You have internet that sometimes works. Yeah. Ian spent some time doing his background, but I think you're correct, Duncan. The idea of video, I mean, it's always been big, but I think the idea of what a video should look like and feel like has changed over time. Gone are the days for a lot of businesses of creating the really polished looking commercial, and it's more, let's just get cameras in the hands of people and let's start creating that way.
Well, it depends on placement too, right? Like if you're putting this on TV or, in movie theaters, like, yeah, I'd use the professional agency, make a pretty ad. But if you're just using this for content building, for awareness, it's just going to go on some social media platforms. You don't need anything spectacular.
Yeah. I mean, a GoPro, I mean, you mentioned the phone, a GoPro is a great option too, where you can create some pretty amazing video without a lot of effort. So good. And to your point too, Duncan, we talked about video. I also saw an interesting article the other day talking about how there's that rise in long form content, where for so many years we were going short form with it would have started with like Vines and then moved over to Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and those are still vital parts of your marketing mix. but there is that appetite now for slightly longer tail content. I know Duncan and I came from blogging backgrounds, and we used to change up, were we doing a short post or were we doing a long, more feature post, or do you split it into multiple? The same thing applies now with content. Mixing some long tail, maybe a bit more of a storytelling angle into your mix, along with some of that short form. A nice mix, I think, is really important. My do is kind of going off of what Ian was talking about with tools. I would say go and think of things that take up a lot of your time or a lot of your effort, or it's really mundane, or it prevents you from doing other things because it creates log jams. There are probably tools out there that can help alleviate some of that. So, if it's simple things like scheduling, for example, or a certain way that you create a post or create video content, are there tools out there that can help streamline what you're doing to allow you to do more things over the course of a day? And with so many tools out there, there are. So when we talk about, I see new tools all the time. I don't look at all of them, obviously. I have in my head, I can't look at every one of these tools that comes out, but here are the big problems that I have, and I'm looking for solutions to those. If I see something that might align with that, then I'll spend a little bit of time looking at those tools. So I'm not chasing the rabbits down every single hole, but I'm looking for something specific. And when I find it, if there's a way to maximize my time, it's probably a worthwhile investment. Oftentimes it's a monthly fee or what have you, but that might save me a lot of time down the road. So do your research and have a plan when looking at these tools. And my don't, this isn't a don't that is 2024 specific. This is a don't that I think I've been preaching, and many people have been preaching for years and years and years, is don't spread yourself too thin on social media. You can't be everywhere. You can't create enough content in a day as a small business owner, a medium-sized business owner, or a small marketing team to actually go and sustain a strategy across every single social media channel out there. So be strategic on where you're placing your content, be aware of the resources you have available to you, and make good decisions based on that. And I think you'll have a lot more success. So don't spread yourselves too thin. You can always add later. It's really hard if you go out and you're on everything to begin with, only to realize that you don't have the time or the effort or the money to be able to sustain all those. And then you have to start backtracking off of things. So that's my don't. Some good ones, guys. Good job. First question of the new year. I think we nailed it. And great news. We're going to hop back into the mailbag for the first time in 2024, where the questions are real, but the names and locations are not. This question, the first question of 2024, comes from Hector in Tucson. Hey guys, I feel overwhelmed by all the new AI powered tools out there. We were just talking about this, Hector. Great timing, Hector. I have no idea which ones to try. So 2 questions. How do I know which ones to research? And which ones do you guys actually use on a daily basis? Well, guess what, Hector? We already answered the first part of the question for you. Have an idea of what you're looking to achieve or what your log jams or your problems are, and then figure out what kind of tools you need to research. But on the idea of what tools do we use on a regular basis, coming from an AI kind of powered tool, if you will, I would say we've been pretty good at finding ones that make us better and allow us to do more things quickly. Duncan, what's one AI powered tool that you use on a regular basis?
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of clarify Brian's point is, there's basically AI for everything. So
yeah,
if you are doing video like we're doing now, if you're writing, if you're doing image edits, if you're coding, there's AI tools that exist for that. So, I mean, obviously isolating what you are trying to actually achieve is important when we're trying to drill down what AI tools to use. Probably the tool that I use the most is Chat GPT. Largely, like depending on how you use it, you can use it to ask it questions to gain more information and more insights on a lot of things that you may not know about. I use it quite a bit to reinforce or ask for like statistics based on certain ideas I may have. Also understanding how certain things work in the world. It's a very useful tool in a lot of ways because you can provided a lot of context and asked for, responses based on the context, not necessarily just a generic response, which becomes very useful if you ask the right questions. So, I mean, it is one of the most popular tools for a reason. It has a lot more data sets than I think any other written tool that's out there. I mean, they're also getting into trouble a little bit with, I think it's the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times saying that they're pulling content from their site. I don't know any of the specifics on that, but the point simply being is they have a lot of reach and a lot of access to a lot of data, which makes for a pretty cool tool to be kind of your buddy when you're trying to ask questions, when you're trying to do a little bit of research, when you're even trying to just brainstorm copywriting. Like, it does it all, and it does it all quite well.
I like it to summarize larger articles.
That's another great tool for it.
That's a really simple way. Again, doesn't replace a human, but it can help you do more stuff quickly. You only have so much time in the day. So yeah, that's a great one. Chat GPT at this point is, for a lot of people, is considered like the original AI tool when it's not very old at all, but it's just how fast we're moving. Ian, I know this is something that you take a lot of interest in.
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier about some of the stuff that you've been looking at. What would be one tool that you would use on a regular basis from an AI standpoint?
Yeah, there are obviously, like you say, there are so many new tools coming out. It's hard to whittle it down to just one. But the other thing to bear in mind is that AI is being added into a lot of tools that you've already been using, whether that's, search engines like Bing or Google Docs, things like that. So the one I wanted to focus on was actually Photoshop, a tool that I'm sure many people in our industry have been using for a long time. If you're on the latest version of Creative Cloud 2024, the Generative Fill feature in Photoshop I found really, really helpful. We often get our clients provide us with images that they want us to use in either ads or banners or things like that. Sometimes they're the wrong orientation. They might provide a vertical image that doesn't crop well into a square or can't be cropped landscape. And I've been using the Generative Fill tool in Photoshop to really just help us get images that the client's happy with without cropping them in a way that doesn't look as good as it could.
Do you remember those times, Brian, when we were given like a daytime image of a place and the client was like, well, can you just make this like nighttime? I actually think like this new tool can do this it used to be an inside joke. We'd be like, okay, yeah, let's just make this summer image winter and no one will know the difference. And that's just like a click of a button with Photoshop. Like, well, no, that's not exactly how it works. But now I actually think you can do that. You can literally take an image that's like a summer photo and be like, just select everything and be like, make this same photo wintertime. And it would probably do it pretty well.
It was an inside joke in our office for years.
Till it's reality, yes.
Till it's reality, yeah. But it used to be, can you guys make this daytime image nighttime? We need it for the website. And we're just like, how on earth do you expect us to do that? But you're right. We could probably do it now, which is crazy to think.
I actually think we should do a little mini segment. We should see if Ian can take a daytime picture and make it a winter or whatever it is image just in real time. Let's just add it to the end of this. It'll be great.
And we'll just all stand and applaud him when he's able to do it. But Ian, your point about the tool you're talking about, I had seen it done online. Somebody posted a video and they were showing how they had to extend a background of an image. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, and didn't think much of it. And then actually got working with Yasher from our team, and the exact thing happened that you were talking about. We were given a vertical photo, but we had to use it on a kind of the hero image on a website. And normally you'd be like, well, how on earth are we going to do this? We're going to have to put a different background in the background or whatever. And yeah, he used the fill tool, and next thing you know, it was seamless. The thing was as wide as we needed it to be. The subject was still in the middle. It was really, really cool to see. And it took a couple minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. My tool kind of plays off of Ian's. I've been experimenting a lot with Kapwing lately. Kapwing is not only just a single tool, it's kind of a suite of tools that allow you to do a bunch of different things, especially in the video world. And they've started to really implement AI across the entire suite of tools. So for example, they now have the ability to make an article into a video, an AI video script generator. There's a B-roll generator where you can say what kind of B-roll you're looking to add to your video, and it makes it. There's the AI photo generator. And then they also just have their standard video editor as well. It's a really, really powerful tool. It doesn't cost very much money. But if you are looking to create videos, even if you see our Strong Coffee drip videos on social, the vertical ones we share with the captions, etc., those were all built in Kapwing, and just the AI tools makes everything a little bit easier, and they're just that much more helpful than trying to figure it out on your own. So I really, really like them. Kapwing and the tools that they've got, and I highly recommend them. Hooray for AI! AI is here to stay. You know what else? Hooray for? Our final segment of the day. Hooray for LinkedIn! I know LinkedIn doesn't get a lot of love all the time.
Well, we had that discussion about the changes to the keyword.
Well, I'm going to talk about that at the end, Duncan.
Oh, well, you said there was only one left.
Yeah, but then I was going to jump in and do something at the end to surprise everyone. Kind of like here, we're almost done, and then be like, oh, surprise.
Oh, I ruined the surprise.
Okay. We're not editing this. We're just going to roll. Okay. You know what else doesn't get a lot of love, guys? Anybody want to guess?
LinkedIn?
Yes, thank you. LinkedIn. I don't know why LinkedIn doesn't get a lot of love, but I think LinkedIn is one of the most powerful social media platforms out there. I really enjoy LinkedIn, both from a personal perspective and a business perspective. They're integrating new tools into it all the time. And kind of a hot tip of the day, something I wanted to talk about was LinkedIn newsletters. Now, these aren't a new tool. These have been around for a couple of years, but I think they've kind of flown under the radar and not a lot of people know about them. And what I like about LinkedIn is if we think about what LinkedIn used to be, it was basically a directory of people and their experiences, and you made connections there after you went to a conference, and then you shoved it off to the side and you didn't worry about LinkedIn for another 6 months until you went to another conference. It was almost like a way to trade business cards is really what it used to be. And that's the perception that I think a lot of people have of it. But they've been working really hard to be more of this kind of one-stop social channel where there's different ways to create content and share your skills and your knowledge, etc. And newsletters came out a while back, and I think they're a really valuable tool for either individuals or businesses looking to get more content out to the people that follow them, to people in their industry, etc. So it's very similar to a standard e-newsletter that you're probably creating already. LinkedIn users can subscribe to your newsletter right on LinkedIn, and then you publish it through LinkedIn, and it gets sent out to people. I've subscribed to a couple of them. I got one of them this morning. It actually came to my email box, but I had subscribed to that newsletter through LinkedIn. So through a connection that I had met on LinkedIn, somebody that I know through LinkedIn, and instead of watching for their posts and maybe I miss them, etc., this is a way for them to repackage their post from the past week or the past month or whatever they want to send out their e-news or their newsletter, and package that up and send it out kind of in one nice little piece of content that I then receive, and I can go through it. So e-newsletters or newsletters are nothing new. The ability to make them and publish them through LinkedIn is something that is maybe a little bit newer. I highly recommend whether you're an individual on LinkedIn and you share a lot of content there and you want to find new ways to get it out to people, or you're a business on LinkedIn and you want to share that content out to your followers and beyond, explore the newsletter feature. If you go into LinkedIn Help, it's really easy to build one. You actually do it when you're going to create a post on your page. There's the ability to have a drop down and you go select it from there. But just kind of an underused, little known tool on LinkedIn as they continue to expand their horizons and offer creators and professionals other ways to connect and share content. So quick tool tip of the day, LinkedIn newsletters, give them a try, especially if you are on LinkedIn on a regular basis. Now, before we end the day, let's talk about a couple more things. Duncan likes to come up with new ideas and stories right before we record every week. And you know what? Kudos to Duncan, because last time we talked about Taters the cat, the video of a cat chasing a laser beam from that was beamed back to Earth from 19 million miles away. Kudos to Duncan for that. Duncan, I don't know if you
That was
realize
your
there's an
takeaway? Okay.
well, yeah, I don't. But I was going to say, I don't know if you realize that there's a bit of an Easter egg in our strong coffee drip today, as a homage, if you will, to your Taters the cat video. If you check out the hoodie I'm wearing,
NASA.
my NASA hoodie. I put this on
was
today because
curious.
I remembered about Taters the cat.
All right.
So kudos to Taters. But Duncan, you actually found an interesting story about something that Microsoft is doing that ties into AI as well. Share, please.
Yes. So the most incredible advancement to the Windows keyboard has happened.
No.
Microsoft, in the last 34 years, have not added a single button until now. They've added a AI like assistant, so like Clippy, but like for 2020
Smart Clippy
with a button. So the last time they actually edited the keyboard for like their Windows was back 34 years ago, 1990. Can't believe that's 34 years ago.
That's crazy.
But 1990 they added that Windows button, and they just announced that they are adding kind of a Chat GPT or AI assistant button to their keyboards moving forward, which will be kind of interesting. I mean, obviously Microsoft is integrating AI into their business suite of products, a lot of their different tools. So it seems like a natural progression. But the shocking thing is that it's taken 34 years. The keyboard has been the way it's been for 34 years without any improvements until now. I mean, yes, we've had ergonomic keyboards made. We've had weird letters made, but it's not a new button. It's just a replacement of the existing button. So anyways, I thought that was kind of cool that they are fully integrating it into our lives, and you can just tap a button and it's there.
And you know what? That might be a good entry point for people to experience AI, right? You just hit a button and see what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
I guess further, Duncan, to your point about Microsoft, going a little bit unscripted now because we haven't talked about this ahead of time, but let's go around the table. Your feelings on Clippy. Did you use Clippy when he was available to you? Did you ignore him? Kind of quick round the table. Ian, go first. Your thoughts on Clippy?
I do not really remember using Clippy very much. I remember it looks like you're writing a letter, or it looks like you're writing whatever, but I think it was quickly dismissed from my desktop, and I just got on with it. Yeah.
He was very observant. He knew what you were doing. He's like, I'm here to help.
Yeah.
But most people did what you did. Duncan, your thoughts on Clippy?
He was like the simplest little bit of AI. If you typed the word deer as your first word, it would be like, oh, my time to shine. You're writing a letter. Let me help you. Here's your templates. Honestly, it's just going to go down in like internet history as that, like, it's still a joke. It's a meme. It's a constant meme nowadays, and everyone who was around at that time frame will always remember Clippy fondly. Did I use it? No, it was an irritating tool that it gave you crappy templates to write a letter. And
not a lot of
literally you type the word D and it's like pops up. It's like, hey, I'm here. But no, don't use Clippy.
Not
and
a
also
fan
do
of
like the yours truly at the end. Like people don't talk like that, Clippy. It was just too weird. But
I liked Clippy.
I mean,
I used him all the time. Yeah. Props to Clippy.
I
like Clippy.
He was the most eager employee that I think Microsoft has ever had.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Well, I like Clippy. I would use Clippy again if he came back. So shout out to you, Clippy, wherever you might be in the stationary drawer of Microsoft now or wherever you are. Kudos to you.
Understand how his eyes attached to his body. They're just kind of like floating there. You're just like, oh.
I mean, when your body is a paperclip, there's not a lot of anatomy going into it to begin with. So I never once thought about his eyes, but thank you, Duncan.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, before this train goes off the rails, I think it already has. Um, that is another episode of the Strong Coffee Drip in the books. Thanks to everyone for listening and watching, for subscribing, whether it be on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. We're having a lot of fun doing this, as I always mention. Even if it does go off the rails from time to time when we talk about Clippy, I'll make a note never to bring up Clippy again. Thanks, guys, for joining, as always. Now let's get back to work.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.